but I'm not a fool.
A package that wasn't as competitive as we had all hoped. There was that big hope to be as quick as Max, a little bit better. Exposed a weakness of mine, a weak spot of mine. My driving style exposed a weakness of mine, a weak spot of mine to drive fast. COVID started to wear off. To be honest, I never wanted to be in Formula One.
Let's go, man! I got you!
It's backseat drivers time. Good evening and welcome to Backseat Drivers number 34 for 2023. It's the Ocon throws up into his helmet edition. To talk about that and many other topics, we've got the returning Matthew.
Hello.
Hey. Long time no see.
Yeah, quick question, Dave. Where do I fill out my expense forms? I spent a bit of money overseas.
Just, fill them out and file them in any bin you can find.
Vegas is not cheap.
Any bin and they will get to me.
I've signed us up to the I think it's the Qatar meet and greet for $750.
Which is probably pretty cheap from what I've heard with some of the Vegas stuff.
You just get to meet him. There's no viewing of it's all boarded up. And you get to watch it on a TV.
I would imagine what it would cost if you actually got to meet a world champion.
Oh, like a good one? Or Lewis?
Well, just a world champion.
Oh, a world champion.
Yeah, because if it's $750 to see Coulthard,
yeah,
like imagine how much it would be to see, say, Button, a one-time world champion.
This, Dave? I'm going to give you three champions. You have to tell me who you'd pay the most for, right?
Okay.
We've got Alonso.
Yep.
Button.
Yep.
And we'll do Max. Let's just
honestly, I'd pick Alonso.
Oh no! You know what? I changed Max to equal machinery. Doesn't change anything, does it?
Nico, I'm still going with Alonso.
I think most people would pay money to...
Yeah. Alonso, I think he'd be the best to talk to, I think.
He would be the most amusing.
Yeah, but I think, like, out of them, Alonso, you could probably have the best kind of conversation.
I feel like Nico would be constantly just reminding you that he's a world champion, and you'd be like, I know that. That's why I'm paying $8,000 to sit on a table with you.
Yeah. And even like say Max, I think that would be a little bit. I
get the impression Max doesn't care.
Yeah, but I think also he's a lot younger than me, so I think we'd have a little bit of a generational difference even.
But it sounds like every time I speak to him, he's just not interested in it just sounds like you're interrupting my racing simulator time. I mean, why am I talking to Sky News, Sky Sports? I could be on a simulator right now. He seems very one track minded of just
Whereas at least Alonso, we could troll stuff, which would be fun.
Yeah, he would just be like, check out my phone. I've got these hilarious pictures of me with the camera right on my forehead because I'm a 40-year-old man who's actually 21. I am a grown man child, and I have millions of dollars, and I have so much free time that the world is my trolling world.
It's a little bit disappointing that American footballer or whatever has kind of wrecked his whole Taylor Swift thing.
Oh, Dave, that's all you could see in America. That was the news.
Apparently, it's gone off. Yeah.
Basically, the NFL has turned it into what you really need is Taylor Swift to have dated Alonso, because then you could have truly experienced how bonkers it was. Because basically, it would have been footage of Max driving, and then it would have been, all right, Max was 4 days in front. We're done with him. Wait a minute. What's over here? Was that? No, that wasn't Taylor. That was just a blonde woman.
The funny thing was it actually true that Ryan Reynolds was in that super box or whatever with
He
her.
was in. We watched the first game that she turned up to,
Yeah.
and then the second game, all the celebrities came along. Imagine the Miami F1. So a bunch of people who have no idea about the sport they've turned up to, but they've been put in a fancy $100,000 box and gone, "You like sports now?" And they're like, "Sport." I think Ryan Reynolds knows a bit of sports now, but you could tell there were a few there that were just like, "I'm in a fancy box and I eat tiny sandwiches from a butler." When's Taylor Swift's boyfriend getting on? Like, when does she perform? And then does the boyfriend come on later? Basically, the whole thing was just, Taylor Swift's boyfriend is playing where she performs.
Yeah.
It's magical.
The most I probably saw of it was Rob McElhenney putting up a post with Ryan Reynolds' face looking disappointed, and that moment you realise when you've been invited to a football game and they meant American football and not soccer.
Oh yeah, because he's Canadian, so he wouldn't actually care.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds' other mate, he's an Eagles fan. Because it's
Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, his other mate.
The other guy.
Yeah, the forgotten one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all that. There was very little mention. Even in Vegas, there was very little mention of the F1. You could see that there was an F1 race coming. No one seems very happy with the F1 turning up. They've barricaded every wall and they've cut down trees. They're ripping up the entire strip. So that's not finished. And they're shuttling people in. So you can't actually physically drive in. Our Uber driver said that they've shuttle buses to transport all the casino workers. And this isn't like casino or like Star City in Sydney. This is hundreds and thousands of people, like all the cleaners, all the and a lot of people don't even know who's in the. Like I was like, "Oh yeah, are you going to watch it? Because there's an American in it." And he's like, "Max," and I'm like, "No, at the back." And then I said, "Have you heard of Logan Sargent?" And he's like, "Lewis?" And I'm like, "Close." They both start with now. They're not even advertising him. Like they are literally just F1.
I think the issue, say, with Logan is that he did all his junior stuff in Europe.
And also because he's not very good.
Well, that wouldn't help. But see, if you had Colton Herter come across, that might move the needle a little bit because you've obviously you've got the whole Herter name. People know that in America.
Well, Dave, there might be a spare seat. I'm just saying, if I was Williams, I'd have that awkward chat.
Yeah, well, my gut feel is that Liam will be on the grid, but with Alpha Boss Bull Towery.
So you're still going, and because Rob's not here to defend himself, this is the perfect time. You are quite certain that Mr. Ginger Spice is going to sit down the Mexican defense minister and go, "We need to have an awkward chat."
McLaren are getting closer.
Yes, they are getting way too close for comfort for someone that's Max will still win. Don't get me wrong. Because Adrian's probably got like some. He's like, McLaren's getting close. Time to pull out the secret envelope of my secret more plans. I cut a little hole at the bottom of the car, and now it's 40 seconds faster again. You were so close. Oscar, this was your only chance to win because next week it's back to 40-second laps in front.
Is it too soon, Junior?
Yeah. I'm hoping at the end of the race, Oscar came up to Max and said, "I almost had you." And then Max said, "It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile." and then told him that he never had his car. and then just walked away.
But yeah, I still think that there'll be more movement there.
So now that Rob's not here, there's going to be. Do you think there'll be two awkward chats? One will be slightly less awkward. It'll just be Logan, mate. You and Nick can go race in DTM or slot cars for all we care, but you know, you're not costing us a lot of money to get rid of you because we pay you peanuts anyway. And then Christian and Helmut and Adrian doesn't get in on those meetings, does he? He just
no, he'd be involved in the driver stuff now because that was part of him cracking the sads and leaving Williams. Was because they did they'd signed Frentzen over Hill behind his back. And
that's right. And he was
supposed to be involved in those discussions.
But do you think he would? Do you think he'd want to be a part of that awkward conversation? Because basically, I'm assuming, Dave, and I could be wrong, but Max and Perez both have roughly the same car, right?
Yeah, and I think that's some of the problem that Perez wants the same car as Max because it's going so fast. Whereas if he pulled his head in and said, right, okay, I need to set it up for my driving style, he'd probably be more a comfortable second.
Well, because it'd be awkward because it's basically, I am back. It'd be awkward because if they're both roughly the same car and Max wins by 3, like Max starts the next F1 race before everyone's finished, and then it's like, Perez, what's happening with you? You've got the same car, you know. Are you not concentrating enough with the car? You know, do you not like Q3? Is that just not, you know? Do you like starting in the back? Does it give you more of a challenge?
Yeah, like you don't need side missions like Max.
Yeah. Max has got wacky side missions now where he wants new people on his podcast. He's going to go, you know, I don't know if anyone noticed, but he was at Bathurst 1000. He was just sitting in the booth. He's got nothing better to do. I'm pretty sure he was there just yelling at a race engineer for you know, setting up a car incorrectly. Yeah. And then quickly goes back home. I feel like Perez gets jealous that he has no side missions because he can't even finish his first mission. Because
that's a Supercars joke.
There's so when do they have the because the silly season doesn't start till what, end of the year? When will they have the awkward chats? Or do you reckon Perez has already been spoken to and just said, look,
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Because didn't they say Mr. Ginger Spice wants a 1-2 finish, right? And if Perez keeps getting caught and he loses that, he's definitely got to lose his seat, right? Because this is their best chance this year to finish 1-2, right?
Yeah, well, I would say so. I'll just look up the standings at the moment. So
what's the gap?
So he's still 30 points ahead of Hamilton.
That's not a lot.
No,
that's 3 races.
Yeah, but Hamilton's not doing great at the moment.
But, like, what about McLaren? How far back are they?
Oh, they're miles back.
Okay.
No, they're essentially out of it.
But is there an off chance that they can, you know, overtake anybody?
Norris will probably catch Leclerc and maybe Sainz.
But Red Bull will be happy to finish because how many races we got left?
8,
7,
6.
There's a lot of time for Perez to fall over.
Yeah.
And I think it looked bad that when Max won the championship and the Constructors' Championship and made it look like it was Max Bull Racing, not Red Bull Racing, and he basically did it on his own his own back.
So
what is the constructor's point? Yeah, well, if he was his own constructor, he's won, hasn't he?
Yes. He won
So
the Constructors' Championship by himself.
That looks pretty bad if your teammates not helped you. Like if Perez was abducted by an alien and disappeared, you would, and they're going, you know what? If you get taken to Mars, your points go with you. Max would be like, that's cool. I've already won everything. Now I've got a new side mission. I'm going to be a pizza delivery driver.
I'm wondering, it'd be interesting to go back whether, like, Hamilton would have won the Constructors' Championship by himself in those years, and whether, like, say, Schumacher 2004, whether he would have won the Constructors by himself.
Let's have a quick look. So 2004, Mr. Schumacher got 148 points.
Yeah.
Oh, nah. Oh, actually, no, he would have. Because Honda only had 119, so he would have won on his own.
Yeah.
And then Lewis is what, 2016 was his most dominant?
Maybe.
No.
There's been 2016 was Nico's year.
That was Nico's year.
Yeah.
So we'll go
Hamilton's most dominant was probably, but like Mercedes was the most dominant all of those years.
Yeah. 318. Oh, no. See, in 2015, he wouldn't have won on his own.
Okay.
Because I think, Nico was stealing points from him. That's why.
I think it was like 2019.
2019. Here we go.
Because that was that the year where the Ferraris had the engine penalty.
Okay, so Lewis here was on 413, and to win the constructors, he would have finished fourth because Mercedes got 739, 504, and 417. So this has been just Supermax.
Yeah. I kind of watched the race a bit quickly while I was working and stuff. Why did Perez only finish 10th?
Because I've run out of
4 seconds behind Zhou, 1 second ahead of Stroll.
That's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, if you've got a...
Oh, there we go. Because I was going to say, I don't remember him crashing into anyone and having damage or...
I think he's just not... It just boggles my mind that you... Like I said, you're going to have a interesting chat where they'll have a performance review and go, look, we don't expect you to win every race. I would imagine with that car, though, we'd expect you to be on the podium or very, podium adjacent.
Yeah, well, the McLarens were close. That was probably because Max was cruising along. But there's a big gap to, say, Mercedes.
It's just...
Did he actually start from the pit lane?
Oh, wait.
Oh, that was the gap in the Hulkenberg gap in the grid, wasn't it? Why did he start from pit lane? You could tell I was very distracted by another race that was happening last weekend.
Was there another race, Dave?
Yeah, that took up a lot of my time. And I may have not paid full attention to this Grand Prix, as well as then trying to watch it while I was working on Monday morning.
But, Dave, did we see the greatest thing that ever happened this year in F1?
Yes.
It involved a F1 detective and a 5-time world champion, if it goes through the courts. Just driving along, just drive. One of them claiming that he doesn't check his mirrors, and then the other one admitting it was his own fault. Has is Lewis now a changed man?
Well, I think probably after you'd made such a big deal about it, and then watched the replay and kind of went,
But it also did seem like Mercedes were quick to put up a video of him like walking through and going, sorry, George. And then, like, you can tell afterwards, he's like, Toto, is that fine? He goes, yes, Lewis, you can run along now.
Good acting.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't my fault. It was Lewis. Everyone saw it. We all saw it. And then even Oscar had a good laugh at it at the end of the race. Did you see that when they were in the podcast office? They were in the podcast office, and they were obviously doing a recap for Max's, podcast. Oscar's on the ground, and he was basically, "Oh, did they crash out? Oh, yeah, was that Lewis?" And Oscar just had a laugh. Like if obviously because he's a rookie, he can get away with doing some, unprofessional reaction. But he basically did what everyone was thinking.
Yeah. Except for Crofty.
Oh. Well, he's a
and probably Toto.
Yeah. Can you imagine? They didn't have any footage of Toto, did they? They'll have it for driving.
No, because he was at home this weekend. I think I heard someone say he's getting an operation on his back or something.
From carrying that team all that years?
Yeah.
and now when Lewis retires, or
from carrying the ego of taking over Ross Brawn's good work.
Lewis, how many years has Lewis got left in his desperate quest for another championship?
Oh, as long as he wants. I think he signed up for another 2, I think it was.
I mean, from what we saw last week, he's probably, Red Bull's miles in front. McLaren could be closing in on them.
But they were, he was going for the win into the first turn.
There was
didn't two other cars there. Yeah.
Yeah, not to use the F1 joke, but it was the marathon, not the sprint race.
Yeah.
And he's just decided wacky races, take out everyone in the first corner, keep driving.
Yeah.
And even better, take out your teammate.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he destroyed his own race and probably his teammates at the same time.
Well, yeah, because didn't they tweeted that they were on proper pace and they could have had it. I think Captain Hindsight came along.
Yeah,
and said, we basically could have won.
Probably not.
If we'd crossed the line first, Dave, we would have got all points for finishing first.
To finish first you have to finish.
Yeah. And that's Dave's application to become a Ferrari strategist.
Oh, the memes this week, and with like Ferrari strategists or whatever in the pits.
Just every is this now the second or third teammate Lewis has now butted heads with?
Oh, well, yeah, because he did with Alonso.
He did with Alonso. He did with Nico.
But probably with Alonso, it was probably more a team thing. Because I think Alonso had been, like, Ron Dennis had signed him up saying, you'll be the team leader, rah. And then the team was kind of favouring Hamilton. Or Ron was favouring Hamilton during the year, which, turned Alonso against the team more than Hamilton, I think.
I just feel that now that George has, grown into his big boy boots, I feel like I think the first season he was obviously just happy to be what he thought was the winning car because he's left Williams and he's like, you've gone from this Excel i30 to this absolute rocket ship. You are going to dominate. You're going to get wins. It's going to shower down champagne. You can break, people's trophies like Lando does if you want. It's going to be glorious. And now I think that he's getting a bit more confident. He's probably thinking, well, Lewis is the old guard. I'm now the new guy. Maybe I try a couple of things and just let people know that I'm, little Georgie is here, ready to go. And I can yell out crikey when needed.
Yeah. What's interesting with that? Norris is beating him in the championship now.
Ooh. Also, I do like the memes of Norris. Norris is an 80-year-old man watching 20 Australians get a podium before him. I mean, I like Norris.
A win.
I like Norris, but also suck at Norris. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because, you can be more consistent, but I think if you're not winning the championship or anything, consistency is good. Yeah. But I think people are going to remember. I mean, I'm biased again, but I think more people are going to remember Dan's win and Lando coming second, and they're now going to remember Oscar's sprint win. Yeah, like everyone's just going to go, "What happened in 2023?" Oscar got a one in the sprint. What did Max do? Max turned up and bored everybody, but Aussie came along and won a sprint race. What did Lando do? Nothing. He's done basically.
Who's won? Because that's the first non-Red Bull sprint win, isn't it, this year?
I think so. Isn't it? Wait a minute. That's a good point. I will tell you. Oh no, this is just the They don't do the sprints, do they?
No. Here we go. Wikipedia has a page.
Do they? Oh, okay. Tell us who's winning the sprints.
Oh, it just tells you how many they've won.
Yeah. Wait a minute. There's a little.
So Sergio won the Azerbaijan one.
Oh yeah, because they're not every week, are they?
Yeah, it looks like Max has won all the other ones, and then Oscar obviously won. So even this year, if you look, so you've only got the two Red Bulls, Carlos, winning races, and then you got the two Red Bulls and Oscar winning sprints. So even though it's like, it was hard to get excited about it for me because, like, yay, he won nothing.
But to be fair, he's what? He's 15 years old. He's never been on that racetrack before, and he's won a sprint.
It's a brilliant job, but it's also a sprint. So
it's a good start, and then obviously with him coming second, them second and third. Obviously, the cars were set up because the cars have obviously been set up well for that track.
Yeah.
And it showed by him coming second. Because let's be honest, I saw that and went, oh, good. He might get another podium because he's not beating Max over, 60 odd laps. Because Max will just be like, oh, I should pay attention now. I was too busy watching Netflix on my little heads-up display because, the new season of, I don't know, whatever teen drama he probably watches had just come back. And then in between that, he has to yell at his domestic partner engineer for, I don't know, telling him not to get the fastest lap. Did he get the fastest lap?
He got 26 points this weekend. Yeah. So
I'm genuinely hoping that 2 laps to go, his engineer or Christian tells him, don't go for the fastest lap. It's all right. He goes for the fastest lap and crashes on the last corner. And then Oscar just, what's his name? Bradbury through and just wins. And because it'll annoy all the Red Bull fans because they're like, it wasn't a real win, but it will still count. Because as Vin Diesel said, doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile or a crazy Dutchman's trying to get the fastest lap on the final lap and he's pitted in to get special new tyres. Also, is that a waste of tyres if he comes in and takes fresh tyres with 2 laps to go?
Well, they don't reuse them anyway, so.
But don't you get a certain amount? I thought it was.
Yeah.
For the weekend. So even if they wanted to, they could just tell Max we don't have any tyres left. And then he's
but he would have known.
Yeah, that's true. But I just want him one day to crack it. And
Matt's a bit distracted by Forza.
Matt wants Forza too. But yeah, so he would know how many tires they have left. So if he wanted to, he'd be like, I know we have a pair of softs. I'm coming on in. Get ready.
Yeah.
I'll be there in a minute.
And if you're not ready, we're not going to win this race.
if you're not ready, I'm pulling this car over and we're going home. And we're not going to Disneyland. We're going to turn the car around. We're going to go back to Holland. I'm just hoping. So, do you think he's now just going to go for more records, or he's just going to side quest it and just muck around?
I think he wants to make sure he wins every race that he can.
Because I'm just thinking, if he keeps the way he goes and wins all the races, and Perez keeps going the way he goes, it's only going to make him look a lot worse. Perez.
Oh yeah.
Like if he was to, like when they get to Mexico, when's the big Mexico race? Because I think that'll be
it's the next one. I think after
America.
You've got the proper United States Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Then you got the Mexican.
So do you think let's pretend Perez knows how to drive in Mexico? One, do we think Max is going to give him a thing? Because let's be honest, Perez hasn't really helped him this season. At least in 2021, he was deserving of many race wins because he basically gave Max the win at the end.
Yeah.
Also, Michael gave it to him because he's a communist from Australia and is part of the Illuminati. But I think this year, I don't think he really owes him much.
Nothing.
I think it'd be a nice parting gift to go, you can have this Mexico win, but just know you're not racing next year with me because
I can't see it happening because I think Max has definitely taken that attitude of I'm going to go for every win that I can.
I want to get the most points ever.
Yeah, and just thinking about like some of Lewis's records and that, and going for
what can he break Lewis's records this year? Because the ones I'm aware of,
it's only
long-term ones.
Yeah, he's got most wins in a row, and then most wins in a season, which I think he's already got.
I thought he already broke that one.
Yeah, he's done most wins in a row, and I think he's probably already got most wins in a season. But then the problem is, he's on 43 wins, I think it is now. Whereas Lewis is on, 106 or something?
Yeah, he's on heaps.
Yeah. So even that's 3 years at this rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you got how many races you got a season now? 37, 40, 45 races. It's like 3 a week now, isn't it? There's a midweek race, a weekend race, and then when they're on the boat, they have a race around the container ship.
Got to catch them all. So, but even like you can say next year he could. It's quite possible for him to win 20 again next year, and then 25 could be similar again. 26, we don't know about the rule changes, but before the rule changes, he could be looking at say 80 wins.
Because I was gonna say, is he is it looking like he's going to be like Mercedes, in the hybrid era, where it's just like for the next couple of years, just pencil in Red Bull or Max to win for a while, and it's basically who wants to be second fiddle to obviously a rocket ship of a team.
Yeah, I think the harder thing for him though, say next year, I mean, McLaren was 5 seconds off the pace this race. You don't know how much Max was backing off and if he could have really stepped it up over the whole race and how much further ahead. But say, like next year, if you have got McLaren actually somewhere in the fight and you've still got Sergio in the second car.
You're not winning the constructors.
Yeah, but even like the two McLarens can offset strategies and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So that then you get one ahead after the stops, and use one as a tactical tool and things like that, so you can leapfrog. And so that's what they've got to watch out for, and that's probably why they need to look at replacing Perez with someone who might be able to get into that fight.
Would they? You have to get someone that's more experienced than a, young New Zealander. You'd probably go to old Australian and say, look, you're going to be the second driver. You're basically going to be the guy that defends.
What have they got to lose putting Dan in that seat?
I'd say, like you said, not much. If I was them, I would put Dan in the second seat and just tell him, look, I don't go for wins, but if you're in front, maybe if you can let Max go through, obviously, because we'll give you a bonus if you let Max win. It's like the Alonso Be Nice to the Owner's Kid, award. You'll get paid $5 million, but if you're winning a race and you have the opportunity to let Max overtake you, there's a cheeky $500,000, and then I'd probably have Yuki and Lawson in my juniors team, because I would still treat that as a what's the worst that could happen. The best case scenario is you end up having an amazing driver and go, well, he's ours now, and when Dan retires in a couple of years, maybe promote him up and go, that was the master plan the whole time.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like where Dan sits against Yuki. Well, Dan will be back in for Coda. So you've got enough to know where Yuki kind of sits there, and then you've got a fair idea then where Lawson sits against Yuki as well. So you've got your baseline. Yeah, but you've got your baseline there, but there's no point in throwing Lawson in next to Max at the moment, because he's just going to get Albon.
But also you don't want someone who is a rookie, because then they can still make silly mistakes. Yeah, that will, like, you want someone that's, like I said, you want an older driver who, and I think Dan realizes that he's happy to be back at Red Bull, and I think it sounds like he's very happy to just be like a company man. If they say you're at, because from the looks of it, it was basically, I'm going to go work for Red Bull. And they're like, we can't give you a seat at Red Bull, but, Red Bull Boss Racing has a seat now. And he'd be like, well, that's the next best thing for me. It's not a good car, but it's basically I have a foot in the door now. I'm at the company and I can just work my way up through the, corporate ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get back into the.
And I know that I know that one of the employees there might be getting the sack at the end of the year because he's not performing, and he's not protected by his dad owning the company, and he'll work forever.
Because unless they say go to try and poach a Norris or Piastri, get Albon back, say the problem, they're not blooding Lawson next year, so they don't actually have someone in the pipeline.
I would
to promote.
You'd have to use Lawson, because otherwise he'd probably just be like, well, I need to, I've got a taste for it now. I'm done. I'm good, obviously good enough to race in a car, and I've done well in an absolute, crap wagon of a car. If I was to be put in anything else, who knows what I could do. Everyone's seen me, it's basically, it wasn't even a job interview for Red Bull. It was a job interview to show people I can drive an F1 car, and I've done it quite well. Yeah. Maybe
the other shit thing for him, though, is that he is contracted to Red Bull. So, they just do what they want.
As I've learned, you just write something on Twitter and go, contrary to what Red Bull has said, I will not be signing a contract next year with Red Bull. I will see you in arbitration court. Good day, sir.
I think that only works with McLaren contracts.
You think Red Bull ones have got proper lawyers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's got to have something to do with McLaren.
Because you know what? If they don't sign him, I would. You'd make sure that Mr. Jag would have an awkward conversation and go, "Son, I've got a new favourite son now, and he's from New Zealand. And if we put him in the Jag, I reckon he would do a lot better."
The Aston.
The Aston, yeah, because his son can't be there for much longer, can he?
He wasn't happy over the weekend, was he?
He acted like the last time I've seen someone act like a small child was when Max was told to give his position to Checo. At the end of that race, he acted like a small child, and then did the most childish interview. Oh, how was it? Oh shit, what's the matter? Oh, fuck you! I don't want to do this anymore. Dad just makes me do this because it's a tax write-off, and I'm a dependent, and he can charge everything I do as a tax write-off. And Mum says I can't come home until I get a podium or win a race.
Well, he has got podiums.
He's got a podium. Yeah, Mum changed it. When she said podium and then he got one, he's like, no, I didn't say podium. I meant
top step of the podium, son.
I want you standing at the top.
Yeah.
Doesn't your little teammate Alonso give you helpful? I remember once he pointed and said, "That was a good turn around that corner." Mum, he's made to do that. No, he's not. He's your friend. He likes you. I heard he's inviting you over. Why don't you go to his house for a week or two? Don't come back home yet. Why am I not allowed to go home? Well, we're having an F1 champion over. Who is it? Nah, you don't know him. Never mind.
Only cost $750.
Yeah, because he must be looking at his position. Him and Checo must have talks together and gone. So, how long you reckon you've got? He's like, 3 races tops.
And Logan.
Oh, look, Logan knows that he's not making it. He must be already ringing people and just going what is...
The thing with that though is who do you replace him with?
Well,
there's plenty of options, but yeah.
Well, if you wanted to keep the American, is Williams one of those teams that are keeping an American there, sort of for Yuki's going to join Honda kind of thing, so you can have a.
I think the intention. I'm pretty sure Logan comes with some money, and
enough to keep him on the team, Stroll money,
I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's in the same realm as Stroll and Latifi, but it's money. But I think the intention was that, hey, all these American Netflix Drive to Survivors love us. When we put an American in the car, there'll be all these companies that will rain money on us because
it's not raining,
they want us to be.
It's been a drought, hasn't it, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see by the amount of sponsors on that car.
Wacky thought, Dave.
Yeah.
Can we go back to, I think I mentioned this before I left, can we go back to the days of having 3 drivers? So here's my plan. We have SVG, just chuck him in some wacky, any Asia Pacific races, chuck him in, because, and maybe some of the American races, because they know him now.
Yeah.
And then maybe get, I don't know, some random, who's the woman that used to win all the W series and now's in
Jamie Chadwick.
Get her to come along and race. And then basically everyone gets, we'll say 5 races. Whoever's got the most points after their 5 races, they get the final race in Vegas. It seems only fair.
Yeah.
And
that's not a bad idea.
Because from the sounds of it, Williams are not. The guy comes on on Instagram at the end of every race on Instagram, and he always starts it with, "Not the result we were looking for on the weekend." It's never the result you're looking for on the weekend. It's always Yeah, it didn't look good. You know, Logan had some trying moments. It's every week it's a trying moment. You know, and then you know how they flash up the results and it's like Max P1, Checo P7 or whatever. They've always got the disappointing one. It's like, you know, whoever P13, Logan DNF.
They do it in a small font. Too.
It's in Comic Sans, so you don't laugh at it.
I don't think Chadwick's got anything to do with Williams anymore since she went stateside.
But they could bring across. I mean,
yeah.
My favourite one of that though, Dave, is always the Alonso Stroll, because Alonso's is always a single digit, and it's Alonso P6, and you're like, that's pretty good, you know. He's been racing for 20 years. Young Canadian billionaire, P17, and then you find out 3 people quit. So technically, it should say in brackets last, dead last.
But they do it the old Dick Johnson racing way, where they do a really big 1 and then a tiny little 7.
Yeah, it just, I think Red Bull, because at least with McLaren, they're both getting, I think they're getting consistent good results together, which at least is, you know, what you want. They're both racing. They seem to be both racing well as a team.
Yeah.
Whereas Red Bull are racing well as a team if the team was just Max.
Yeah.
Mercedes obviously have problems now that George is a big boy and he's putting on his big boy pants.
But at least, like, they're relatively close to each other. And even, you know, like, Leclerc and Sainz are really close.
But that still blows my mind, because you watch them each week and you're like, these two just look like they're both on separate teams and they're both on different radio channels. And at the end of the race, they're like, Dave, didn't you hear what I was saying? You're like, I was on channel 6. I have no idea what you said. Oh, I was on channel 7. Maybe next week we'll, you know.
But see, even in the championship, like the Ferraris are 5th and 6th they're only 8 points apart.
That still blows my mind that it's just, it makes no sense.
Whereas there's a big discrepancy in the Mercedes points this year.
Yes.
Granted, Russell has failed, I suppose, on the big occasions.
Yep.
Like this weekend, that would have been a lot of points thrown away. Singapore, when he crashed. What was that? That was going for second
or third.
So, there was a big chunk of points there. I think there was somewhere else where the Mercedes was really competitive and he threw away a heap of points.
But I feel like he's probably setting up for a better 2024. And
but you can look at it and go, okay, there's been a few key mistakes, but in general, like him and Hamilton have been fairly level pegging. Like the big discrepancies when you look at the points, obviously Max is basically double the points of Checo.
Yeah.
Then Aston Martin. Alonso's on 183. Can you see how many Stroll's on?
Here we go. Yes, 47.
I was going to say, have a guess at the. So that's about.
Wait, Dave. It's really small. I've just got a.
Yeah.
It starts with a 4 and then a teeny tiny 7 below.
So probably the next biggest embarrassing one is Williams.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Albon's on 23 and Sargent's on nothing.
Well, I didn't know Sargent has 2 double DNFs. And now he's and he's probably going to retire in America, isn't he? Because didn't he stuff up in Miami? No, he came dead last in Miami. So my prediction, Dave, is he's going to either get last or just DNF.
Last.
Or last. That was the other thing, Dave. With him pulling out due to heat, I'm in the mindset that if he's racing an F1 car around, like we make fun of him, but he's an elite athlete who sits in a rocket ship of a car for 2 hours at a time. If he's getting sick and vomiting, let's be honest, you and I would be dead 30 minutes in.
Oh yeah.
We'd be literally taken out and just got declared dead at the scene. Because
As much as like I'm quite happy to criticize these guys, I fully understand that there is no chance in hell I could do what they are doing. Like, I mean, I'm not bad in a go-kart, but I'm not the fastest. Like, I look at when they've got the super lap times at a go-kart track, and I'm like, I don't know how we find like those 3 seconds or whatever to, go that much far, other than maybe, cutting off half of my body or something.
We're not doing that, Dave. I like kebabs too much.
Yeah, to reduce weight. And even then, I think there's probably a certain amount of weight and there's ability. But I'll do 10 minutes in a go-kart and I'm done.
Yeah, I'm hit the showers time. I'm going to have a nap for an hour.
Yeah, I'm dripping in sweat and I need to go and see the chiro to fix my back.
I'm not going into work Monday and we went racing Saturday. I'm using all my sick leave. And they're like, why aren't you coming in? Not feeling well. Did you get into an accident? No, I brought this upon myself.
Yeah. It gets even worse if you have an accident in a go-kart. I don't even need to crash to have a bad back. But if I do crash...
I had a racing incident and I cannot come into work. Also, my back's sore. Well, yeah, because that's what I was going to say. Do you think it's too hot at...
Well, this is a hard one. I heard the FIA is looking into the weather. And you're like, well...
The problem is, Qatar has so much money, they can just go, we can make it rain if you want. How much money do you need?
But
here's $4 million. It wasn't that hot.
It's difficult to control the weather. So what do they get to the point where they say, right, if it's X amount of degrees and X amount of humidity, the race doesn't happen?
Well, the problem is,
do you look at it as a safety thing? Like if there's a drop of rain, we can't put wet tires on, so we can't race.
Yeah, if it reaches... don't get out the wet weather tires because they're not what they're made for. They're just made to make key rings and stuff.
But yeah, do they have, like what the CFMEU in Victoria has, where it gets to 35 degrees or whatever it is, tools down, we don't do any work. Do you have the Formula One? Like
but I think you've got too much. Because the thing is, Qatar's obviously paid a lot of money. And if you get there and it's, we'll say what, 30, 34 degrees, and this is at nighttime, isn't it? This isn't this is not a day race. This is a like sunset.
I think the problem though with this was because you were also very high. I think it was 90-something% humidity as well,
which is not helping.
No. So, and even, I mean, like I know kind of traveling around and I do struggle with humidity more than heat. And like I've been to dry countries where I've been quite fine. And then I've been to countries where it's not as warm, but it's a lot more humid and really struggled through it. So
the thing is though, you get to the race and they're like, hey, everybody, you're all on the track.
Yeah.
We're good to go. And then, whatever the Max Mosley, whoever he is at the time now, official comes out with a little, thermometer. And he walks up to, probably like Horner and Toto, and he shows it to them. Toto throws the hat down on the ground because he's just realised he's ruined his chance because they were the fastest car that weekend, Dave. And now they're not doing the race, and then there's like arguments of like, we should have raced. It's not our fault that some of the drivers can't handle the heat. Lewis is a finely tuned athlete.
Well, with that as well, though, do you look at it like, say, a wet race where the rain gets, with all jokes aside, like if the rain gets too heavy and we stop the race, do you go, right, it's the limit's 40 degrees, the race, it's 38 degrees and the race starts, and then the temperature climbs and it hits 40 degrees during the race, do we stop the race? Or do you go, it's already happening, so let's keep going?
Well, I know for others, I don't know how you do this in F1, but I know in other sports they have like mandated breaks. So a lot of ball and stick and just ball sports, they will just say 20 minutes in, everybody off. We're having ice cubes or orange juice or whatever. Do you just, you can't just pull a safety car because if Max is 40 minutes ahead and they're like, everyone stop, we're going to have a 5-minute drink break. Everyone's going to get some fluids in or something and then take off again. People will get annoyed. Williams won't because they'll have, joined.
They can catch up.
They can finally catch up and then crash later. Or do you just make it better cooling in the car?
I know, like IndyCar have got the vent thing that goes on top of the aero screen. If it gets to a certain temperature, you've got to run that vent. Although the big issue with that is that it pumps a lot of air through when you're moving fast. And then when you're stuck behind a safety car or something, there's not a lot of air pumping through it.
So what you're saying is Max would be super cool, and then someone like Williams would get no air conditioning because the car barely goes fast at all.
But do you, say in the supercars, which I think NASCAR has a similar system, and now like the IndyCar drivers have a similar system where they have the air hose in the top of the helmet, so where air's fed into the top of the helmet, which F1's a little bit different with the aerodynamics. But then do you say, right, you've got to run it once it gets to a certain temperature, you've got to run a helmet fan, which then cools your head down, or you've got to run the ducting into the helmet.
Yeah, you'd have to have that on your helmet at the time, and then it would just be race control. But it's like it's F1 or whatever. You dictate that this is a helmet intake race or whatever, and you've got to run that helmet with ducting. So any of the desert type racetracks that you'll run, or I'd say any race that you have to run at night time because of the heat. I'd say you have to wear the, like you said, the helmet. Yeah. And you have to pack more water or something. Like just
well, maybe even have like some kind of cooling system for the drinks in the car. Yeah. Because
from the looks of it, Logan just was ruined and like dehydrated. And again, we make jokes that we're like, you should. He's still driving a rocket ship for 2 hours. And I think Lewis even said it on a talk show, you lose like 8 kilos of body weight. Yeah. And they don't weigh much to begin with. So that's, that's
that's it.
It's not a body weight.
Yeah. Do we let...
If I lost 8 kilos, that would be... No one would notice.
Drop in the ocean.
They'd be like, good start, fatty. Do a couple more laps.
Do we let Buffy in for the end of the show, or do we leave him in the
has Buffy got F2 news that I've missed out on?
I don't know what he's got. Let's let him in.
Let's bring him in.
Yeah, no, I'm very...
Can we call Buffy just the Williams driver of this show then?
The Williams or the Haas driver?
Well, I was going to say, Buffy, you're well past 107% of the show. You've completely missed qualifying, and you have to start in the pit.
Yeah, it happens.
Just that's in the championship. I was going to say the Haas guys aren't doing too well.
Exactly.
I keep forgetting who.
They didn't do well on the weekend either, did they?
No, they didn't.
Who's the second driver for the Haas team again? I always forget.
Which one? Magnussen or Hülkenberg?
It's Hulk. Yeah, no. I remember the Forgotten Chinaman, and I just keep
the Forgotten Chinaman's at Alfa Romeo.
See, they're just who's the other driver for Haas then? I've completely forgotten.
Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah. They are both such an uneventful team. You know
it's going to get even worse next year when Haas is sponsored by Alfa Romeo.
Oh yeah,
Dave, new plan. You know how the FIA is complaining, all the new drivers are complaining that when Mario Andretti shows up with his new team.
Yeah.
Just get rid of Haas or Alfa Romeo. No one even knows they're there. You know, the common man like me forgets they're even on the grid.
No.
Williams, the only reason I remember Williams, Dave, is because, like you said, they used to be good. I've seen videos of them being big. I've never seen a video of Haas going, oh, look at Gene. He's so happy. Haas got a 1-2 finish at Monza. You know, they're words you're never going to utter. Like, did you see that amazing race where Alfa Romeo got a 1-2 finish at Monaco? It was beautiful. They both started at like 6 and they just overtook everybody. Give one to Mario Andretti and give one to that New Zealand team. I just solved F1. You can thank me later, FIA. I'll take a check.
No, FIA want extra teams. It's bloody Liberty Media that don't want the extra teams and the teams.
Yeah, but
it's not Liberty, it's the teams.
Booby, we're not adding extra teams. We're just kicking out the 2 garbage ones and bringing in fresh blood.
Yeah,
who doesn't want a New Zealand team?
Of course, everybody wants a New Zealand team. In fact,
we
just need an Aussie team. Although technically we had Minardi.
I would love Holden Special Vehicles F1 division. And on the side of it, the first one would be called Monaro, and then the other one either Kingswood.
Yep.
And it just have Kingswood Country and it have a photo of that guy. It'd be brilliant.
Ted.
What's his, yeah.
So I can't remember.
Last time Walkinshaw was involved in F1, it didn't end too well.
No, it didn't.
Can VW get in, or are they still in a little bit of trouble?
VW's basically Audi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so they're coming in with the Audi brand.
They're coming. Audi
so
brand will take over from. So it'll be,
finally.
Is it going to be called Audi Sauber or something? Is that
Sauber,
what it's going to be called?
Oh, I think it'll end up being just called Audi at some point. Yeah.
Okay. So
Audi Monster Energy Drink. That's what you need.
Oh, you mean like Hugo Boss Red Bulls Racing when that's going to be happening next year?
Yeah.
Yep. Then we can all wear fancy Hugo Boss, Ricardo. No, it'll be Liam Lawson, Hugo Boss.
There's no Rob here, so it's all right, Matt.
LL. Just
only if we can afford it.
Yeah, that's the problem. They'll be too expensive.
I can't afford AlphaTauri clothes. So what chance have I got for Hugo Boss?
Well, Dave, I can't remember if I told you guys, but I went into a lot of the F1 shops in Vegas.
Yeah.
A McLaren polo shirt, $184 US.
Oh, damn.
A regular hat, I think, was $49.95.
Oh,
still expensive. No.
That's
US,
probably similar. Yeah, but some of them were over $100.
GP.
They had
this year, yeah.
They had the Toto jacket. You know the one that I remember him that he's slams everything. That was $400 US. Doesn't come with a headset. I had a look.
You need the headset so you can slam it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the shops, there was a shop in Vegas. I think I sent you guys the photo that had the Haas car.
Yes.
And then it had 2 Haas little stands, and the rest of it was Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes. No other team existed.
What about Ferrari?
What? Not even the
prancing horse? They don't even.
They probably had a separate Ferrari shop somewhere.
They must have had a separate Ferrari shop that I saw before. But yeah, some of the shops, they only really had Red Bull.
Oh wow!
Or is it?
Well, because you've got to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, actually, I think it was called Max Racing, and it was just a picture of Max. And they're like, "Is there anyone else on this team?" Like, not that we're aware of.
No, there isn't.
We built a wall to keep them out.
Well, I did go down to Texas. So I didn't get close enough to see the
You didn't see the wall?
You couldn't see the wall?
No.
You weren't close enough to the border, were you?
Nah, not even close.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Close enough to see F1 gear.
Yep.
And it's ridiculously outlandish prices. But yeah, the track will look good.
You showed me the track live. I was the only one
I did on-the-screen reporting, and my boss couldn't even answer the phone because he was too busy, as I quote, eating lunch. And And I think our other correspondent, Rob, just said, couldn't be bothered. I was also eating lunch.
I said, "No, if I'll just answer the call, 'cause I'll answer the call. I'll see
But
what Matt
they're
wants."
barricading everything, Dave. So any restaurant that has a view, they've got these wooden walls going up. And because
So
we
what, you
asked,
can't see the
a
track?
bunch of them, and it's basically you'll barricade up the wall, and then you can watch it on the TV. So the race will be here, but you
can't
have to watch it on the TV at the wall.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and they've blocked all the walkways. So the whole thing has got like overpasses and stuff. They're all being blocked and locked down. The trees in the middle of the racetrack are being cut down.
Yep.
And a lot of the fancy stuff around the casino is being turned off. So the Bellagio
Water fountains.
we saw it once, and I think they're only running it like once or twice a day.
Oh, okay.
And then they get to the point where they're just turning them off completely.
Yeah.
But it will be a very interesting race.
You reckon?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be here to watch it. So
Exactly.
Well, yeah, we should do like a live viewing of it or something.
I think Rob was having us all around to his place.
Oh, okay. We're all going to Rob's house.
Okay, Rob. Thank
Oh,
you. You've
yeah.
just volunteered.
Yeah.
You've just thrown Rob under the bus, hosting us.
No,
Anyway.
Rob's
No, I'm sure he offered
That'd be
the
fine.
other week.
Yeah, of course he did. He said, "Yeah, let's go watch it together." I said it was at
And
5 p.m. on a
Now
on
we've
a
got
Sunday.
video evidence that
So
Rob,
wait a minute, is it
100%.
5 p.m.?
Everyone else is invited too.
Everyone come over to Rob's place. His address is 123 Fake Street, Anywhere Town, and bring a $5 donation to
Hipsterville.
cover for drinks.
Yeah.
Hipsterville.
Rob will bring some
it's
slabs
close
of
up,
drinks
Hipsterville.
and Pepsi.
Yeah. What's the native drink of Las Vegas?
Oh,
was
it's
gonna
Anything
say-
alcoholic.
Margaritas, but
Anything alcoholic.
Dave. I'll tell you what it is. It is we didn't buy one because they were $55 US, but it's a glass about, I'd say, 2 foot tall of a frozen daiquiri.
Oh wow!
Cool.
Because around Vegas you can walk around with a plastic bucket of alcohol, and as Alex said, you can get white girl wasted and just wander around the street, and it's completely legal.
Oh wow!
It was, basically you just drink frozen alcoholic drinks. So they basically pour in a slushie.
Yep.
No, they pour in the alcohol into the bottom and then just fill it up with a Slurpee.
nice.
Oh wow!
So,
That's the alcoholic drink of choice.
yeah, basically they just have these things outside all the casinos. Like the size of Vegas is ridiculous. There's no buildings. All the buildings are the size of like Melbourne CBD. And there's like a whole strip of it. It's going to be bonkers. Also, the cool thing is though, they've got the sphere running. Have you guys seen the?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's creepy because they can put an eye on it. I'm hoping that
wow.
during the race they put like information on it and stuff because it actually looks pretty cool. It only fits like 20,000 people inside it, but outside it looks pretty good.
Yeah. They'll just be showing Alonso replays of Lance Stroll driving through corners.
Exactly. Like it was in
You're right.
Miami.
And then every so often it'll just be Alonso looking up and going, "Nice turn on turn one, good work." Hey, wait a minute. Have because don't they still have to do the let a rookie drive in free practice 1? Isn't there a bunch of teams that still haven't finished that?
I think so.
I would have thought so because,
Because there's not many left.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of announcements on those things.
No, because Red Bull haven't done it.
Yeah, I don't pay a lot of attention to it, but yeah, I don't recall.
I've heard a lot of them haven't done it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't recall Red Bull doing it, or Mercedes, or McLaren.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think Ferrari might have done one.
Ferrari did it
Ferrari
very
did.
early
I think
on in the
Ferrari
season.
did. I think Ferrari did. Definitely Aston Martin did.
Did they?
Yeah, Drogovic, he drove. He
That's
did it in
right.
P1. Drogovic did it in P1.
You know
Maybe
what?
I think
Has could have done it, and like I said, wouldn't
Yeah.
have even
No,
noticed.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think all the lower teams have, except for the just. I think it's just Red Bull,
I don't think Alfa Rosso
AlphaTauri.
Minardi boss has done it.
I don't think they have, but you'll probably they might be doing it during, say, some of the other more obscure races. Probably. What have we got?
Well,
left?
they don't have a lot left, Wolfie.
No.
No, they've got 2 in the US, Mexico, Brazil. And
When you're not going to waste it at Vegas because they've never raced there before.
no, they won't do it there. So in
You'll
that
do
case,
it- you'll either do it-
you could do it at Coda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
probably
gonna say you would
Coda
start
and
in
Abu
Brazil.
Dhabi.
Coda, Abu Dhabi, possibly Brazil, and
I would do it
maybe
in Brazil.
Mexico.
You wouldn't do it in the last race, would you?
No, you could, because by then
Yeah.
you know what's happening. Unless it's close for a championship, then
Yeah.
they
I would
won't
have
do
thought.
it.
I would have thought
But
America
I
or
think
Brazil.
Coda will probably be the main one.
Coda and Abu Dhabi, if something goes wrong, you're
Yep.
not losing a car.
Exactly.
Whereas, say, Brazil,
Mexico, you couldn't really. Would you lose a car in Mexico?
no, probably not. Now that
Mexico's got a bit of runoff.
yeah,
And then Brazil's actually pretty good. It's more like a proper old school racetrack, so
Yeah,
it's got plenty of runoff as well.
Brazil and Vegas are running a lot of risk.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Booby,
Yeah.
you don't want to be in Brazil because that could be where the awkward Checo crash in front of his home crowd happens. And then can you imagine, Booby, you driving along as you see Checo in a sandbank and just go, "Oh, that could have been me." Oh,
Ooh.
at least I don't have a high pressure contract job with Red Bull. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly drive now and just park my car and watch it from the the fancy box or something.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I'm going to listen to the radio messages as Max doesn't let me pass him, and he tells Mr. Ginger Spice, "I've told you before, I'm not letting him pass. I have my reasons."
Fun messages.
And then maybe they could fire him in Mexico, so it's not as far for him to join the Mexican Racing League. And then once Logan Sargent starts laughing, they go, "Why are you laughing? You can stay here too."
No, you'd fire him in Vegas, wouldn't you?
Oh no!
No.
It'd be funny to fire him in Brazil or Mexico.
Or Mexico. Yeah, true.
Or even better, Abu Dhabi. Just be like, you know what I would do? I would tell him if you get a podium in the next 5 races, you're signed on for the next year, just because it's going to cause that extra bit of panic, and there's a good chance he's going to take out someone. So he could be driving, and he'd be like, between me and Lewis is a podium, and if I get this, I keep my job. But there's a good chance he just takes out Lewis instead, and he still wins. I would pay him a entertainment bonus. You either get a podium or take out a big name person, but obviously don't have it recorded, so we don't have it like Singapore. What was it? 08, where like 6 years later you go, "By the way, someone told me to crash."
And yeah,
and then everyone gets banned.
yes. And then on top of that, now we get a lawsuit.
Is that law still going? I haven't heard much of it.
Nothing's gone through yet. Like I know
It's died down a bit.
Has there been anything
Disappointing.
formal? There hasn't been anything formal yet, has there?
I don't know, because he was uninvited to the rest of the championship this year.
Massa?
Really?
So, yeah. So people can't ask him questions about it. Convenient.
Very, very
The
convenient.
last thing I've seen here was from Auto Week, saying that Felipe Massa asked London courts to overturn results of the 2018 championship. That's the
So
last.
probably not going anywhere.
So
Yeah.
it looks like, apart from, and that was back in September 15th. So
It's all right
there's
because
been
Toto
nothing
Wolf's keeping a close eye on it
said. Of course it is.
because that's going to change everything for you, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, on that note,
We're pretty much done.
We've
Yeah.
Booby's
We've,
come in and swooped in at
yeah.
the end.
covered off bugger all of Rob's notes, so he'll be happy about that.
Wait,
So you
Rob
guys
had
didn't talk
notes?
about Pirelli.
Yeah, we can copy and paste them next week.
So you guys didn't talk about Pirelli extended to 2027.
We
Nah.
just did. Good work,
Yeah.
guys. Well done.
There we go.
And not just for F1, for all the categories.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that
we'll
next
cover
week.
Okay.
I mean, we covered everything else. Perez is garbage. How is he still at Red Bull? Covered.
That's true.
Exactly.
Max won. I mean, we called that
Yeah.
10 races ago.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's hardly news.
Yeah. A
we-
bunch of people threw up. Yep.
Yeah,
All
we
done.
talked about Pastry winning the sprint.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
We talked about. We
And
mentioned
then-
the FVG
done.
And then,
and Bathurst.
Dave, you've written a line here, helmet Marco. I repeat myself, but Perez had the contact and we want to respect it. I mean, that's not worth.
Nah.
I definitely didn't write that. So
So Rob.
Must have been a Rob note.
yeah, I think Rob wants to discuss that next week.
Yeah, that can be next week
But
discussion.
he might not. But Checo might not be working for Red Bull next week.
Wow,
He's
that'd be a shame.
because Dan's coming back next week, and they haven't
Yeah.
said what team he's racing for. They just said Dan's back. You know, I feel like they're just saying that to make Checo feel good. Like, don't worry, Checo. Dan can't hurt you. And then Dan turns up in a Red Bull outfit, and they're like, not yet. We didn't say you're ready yet. And he's like, guys, where's my Red Bull outfit? I'm like, oh, you've got a new white one today. It's a special livery. We're playing opposite day. Remember when you were the second driver at Red Bull? Now you're the first driver at AlphaTauri. But also, if Yuki overtakes you, you are definitely not coming back for the other race.
Your new side mission is see if you can beat Yuki.
In fact, that's your only mission. This is the mission you need to continue the game.
All right,
Done.
Okay, boys.
we'll see you next week.
Yep.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye.